welcome everyone to the Winning Together podcast. This is Shay, such the shark-azlet today, and I've got across the board Kayla, the queen, the sovereign of her life, Bettles. How are you?
I am so good, winning at life on fire, and so excited to be here.
That's really what today is about, is being on fire and really leveraging that. So, Kayla, I'm going to have you just introduce yourself a little bit. You're the sovereign of your life.
Yes.
You are the queen of your space. Tell us a little bit of just background, who you are.
Cool.
And then what areas you want to focus on winning in your life.
Cool. So a little bit about me. I have experienced a ton of trauma in my life. If there is any amount of suffrage, I have suffered it. I have been through it. So domestic violence, sexual assault, sex trafficking, drug dealing, being in jail, all of the things that we go through, drug addiction. I was a poly user, so I have experience using everything to extreme amounts. Been in a lot of bad car accidents, just a ton of stuff. Proudest thing I am is a mom of 3 beautiful baby girls. I got 1 Native American baby, I got 1 half black and 1 ginger baby, and I got a tribe, and I'm raising 3 queens. And so I am just here living my best life every single day.
That's big. And what's great about having Kayla on the Winning Together podcast today is that other side. So, love and hate, if they're the same side of the same coin, or they're 2 sides of the same coin, then trauma and struggle and strife, you're going to also help us understand how you got to having a story to tell, being a sovereign in your life, and finding that place of joy, how you've neutralized some of the shame or transformed it, transmuted it. What's an area that you want to focus on? Do you want to start in kind of a recovery space? Do you want to start in kind of we were talking a little bit about before, about some suicide, about some of the sex trafficking. We didn't even talk really much about the domestic violence. That was a big
I know, and that was a big,
Genesis,
that was a big lead in to, like I said, when I did the arena talks on Wednesday night, the domestic violence is really what prepped me for being so easily, vulnerably recruited into sex trafficking.
Right.
So domestic violence is a huge thing. I am a domestic violence advocate. And that is something that I try to catch women with before they end up being in that vulnerable position to be sex trafficked. So I think where I'm at right now in the space that feels most important to me and that I feel like I'm winning at is that I am combating so much shame. And I am combating the fact that everyone is going to have opinions, and they're going to, we were talking about Brene Brown earlier and being in the arena. And I am constantly in the arena. And sometimes it fucking hurts to be in the arena. It hurts to have the critics. And sometimes I don't mind the critics because I don't value their opinion. But the ones that hurt are the critics that are in the stands that you really care about and you love. But what I've realized and what I've come to realize over the past month or so is that just because you love someone and value them, it doesn't mean that you allow them to treat you poorly. And that is something that I still have to learn. And I've come so far from allowing someone to brainwash me to the point of me almost killing myself and actually floating out of my body and coming so close to death just for scraps of love. I have come so far as to, processing things for a couple of weeks and then being like, okay, it's time to brush it off and get back up and queen up and suit up and do what you do. And that is what I am here to do. And so I want to talk about the fact that no matter where anyone is at in their recovery, everyone's recovery is going to look different. So for me, just some of the things that I do for my recovery, I love music. I love bumping music in my car. My kids love bumping music. They know, Mama, that's the first thing I do. I magnet my phone up. I turn on my tunes before I even put it in drive. And my daughter...
What's something you've been bumping recently, last week?
Oh my gosh, I bump everything. Like Nipsey Hussle, like I bump and rap music. And I said this the other night. You will hear so much about sex trafficking in rap music. It is unbelievable. But Nipsey Hussle's been on my mind a lot lately. And I always have in my mind, he used to, before he passed, he used to sage his whole family before they would leave the home so that he would not put any of his kind of energy or anything else into the world. So I really value like that and how he cared about how he carried himself in the world. So I value that. And like Wale, I love Wale. I love listening to Wale. And there's this song called Rumors, which I just have been bumping like crazy because there's just been so much like gossip and like critics and people talking about my recovery and like all these things. And
about what it should look like or what it should be like.
Yeah. And so I've been bumping this song called Rumors. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? All the rumors are true. And what? Let's go. Like, who cares? I don't care. I'm going to still keep going. I'm going to still keep winning because it's my life. No one else is laying down in my bed with me. I'm there at night. I'm the one who lives inside my body and inside my brain and inside my heart. And I want to be who I want to be. And I want to be a queen. I am a queen. I crowned myself. No one else did that for me. I am not a damsel in distress. I saved myself. I queened myself with the power of my higher power. I have to honor him. And together as a team, we have queened me, and I am a queen.
You know, in the phrase, it's not even a phrase, it's an axiom, by their fruits you shall know them.
Yes.
And your fruits that you continue to share with the world abundantly are joy, love, connection, freedom, being the boss of who you are. You're boss of your body and your brain and your life.
Yep, everything, owning everything.
And I remind listeners, so to get where we want to go, you are free to speak and talk exactly what's coming up for you. So just so everyone knows that if their language comes up, it comes up because that's how we're going to roll today.
Yeah, I might use the word fucky sometimes because sometimes things are just fucky. So,
that's right.
You know.
Boom, right there. So you are free to speak it whatever and how you feel about what we're talking about today, okay?
Perfect.
So
I love it.
Anyone who's listening, option 2, not listen anymore if that bothers you. But if you're going to opt in, it will be worth your while.
Definitely.
Okay? So going after shame with creativity, music, not only just listening to it and allowing
creating
that.
It.
Yep, creating
yes,
it. What else?
Finding my voice. So I would like to talk about specifically, I go to Fit to Recover. They have a creative music group there. And I want to speak about one event in particular and the power that this group has for me. I went from an interrogation. I'm currently in a trial against my trafficker. So we've done almost 2 years of investigations, and we're coming up to waiting for the judge to see the case and be able to testify and face my trafficker again after running away from him. And I literally went from
It's been 2 years now since you ran away?
It's been 3 years. Yep. So I literally went from being just degraded and like just the worst things possible. And I did not think that I could feel any more pain. And I laid down in my apartment on my floor, and I was beyond the point of suicide. Like I thought in my head, God, I just want to be with you. Just please rapture me up. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to be away from anybody, but I just want to be with you because I don't want to feel this. This freaking hurts. And then I picked myself up and I went to music group, and I couldn't speak. I was literally stuttering. My baby was crying. I had my kids with me because my kids are my recovery babies. They go to meetings with me. You'll see my kids in tow all the time. And I literally sung out the most beautiful words, and I just said, I'm free and I'm safe. And I sung it out so beautifully, and I cannot I replay it in my car so much because I couldn't muster a word. And I literally went from being at a point of wanting to be raptured up to wherever was not here, to being able to sing about being free. And so for my music group, of being able to go in with a clean slate, and sometimes I go in with something prepared that I've been thinking about through the week and I want to talk about, and then other times I just listen to the music and I really get to think about, I don't even think about it, I just hear the beat, I write down what I want to write down, and then I just spit it out. There's no fear in it. Like, I'm off tune sometimes. I don't care what it sounds like, but there's so much love and support in there, and there's so much safety there that I'm able to just sing it out. And then what I do with that is that I record it, and then I listen to it throughout the week, and I literally give myself strength by hearing my own voice and what I really felt about something, because those are, sometimes it's so hard. We get so mixed up and we have conversations with people and we get mixed up on how we really feel. And in that space, it gives me this safe space to really think and feel about, what am I actually feeling right now? And then I get to put it out there and I get to create it, and it's beautiful and it sounds beautiful, and to hear my voice and be like, oh my God, I didn't know I could sing, or I didn't know I could rap like that, or like whatever it is, or like mix up or collab with people. That has been the biggest part of my healing. And I go every Wednesday. That is a safe space. That's my biggest thing that I like to do, is go to my music group. And I also create mixed media art, and I have transmuted. I will give an example of one of the pieces that I've done has about 20 to 25 hotel keys on it. And it, I usually take a couple months of processing through a piece of artwork, and I put actual items that I acquired through trafficking, and I put them onto a piece of art, and it tells a story. So that's a little bit about my healing. And of course, meetings. I love AA. I'm an AA girl. I love step work. I love the magic of it. And I love my sponsor right now. She's freaking rad. She's busy. I'm busy. But when we connect and we collide. And it is all just up in my higher power. And it keeps me in check with myself. And I know that about myself. So I also have AA in me. I love meetings. I love sharing at meetings. I shared last week that I was going to go skydiving, and I went skydiving. And that happened because I shared at a meeting, and I'm an addict, so I'm a little bit like egotistical and cocky sometimes. And I was like, if I have such a strong faith in God that if I was going to jump out of an airplane, like, I would be the first one to do it. Like, that's how strong my faith is. And this guy came up to me and he totally checked me and was like, I'm going skydiving on Sunday and there's an open spot. And I'm like, let me look at my schedule. Then I'm like, uh-oh. Yep. And then he's like, I'm like, I don't really have money. And this guy, he's awesome. Greg, shout out to you, my friend for life now. And he paid for it, and I went skydiving, and it was an amazing experience. And it's been freaking amazing. So I do so many things for my recovery. I visit survivors. I help people get into treatment.
So let's unpack this. You've shared so many tools that are so second nature to you now. Let's unpack this for a minute. So first of all, cool. I don't know the folks at Fit to Recover personally, but I understand the premise of the recovery platform, right? Where it's you've got to process through your body as part of your recovery. Huge fan. Connection. And I understand. What I understand, their group is outstanding, and you have personal experience with them. So I can't imagine doing any type of real recovery without incorporating your body in there to process and move through and become a person who's more connected. But you do. Yeah. The quality of your recovery is in direct correlation to the relationship you have with your body. Yes. So, and they have a lot of other services too. They do community prep. They do a lot of things in the community. And Ian himself is just a amazing man, and he has offered me so much inspiration in my own life and so much support for me. And he has offered this safe space where if there's nowhere in the world that I feel safe, I will crawl to get to that music group. And literally on the door when you walk in, it says, "Just breathe, you're safe."
And just says it all. That describes FTR in a nutshell. Just breathe, you're safe.
Well, and what a huge blessing that is to be in a safe place and to bring your not just yourself personally, but to put yourself in a place where you can go to places that are safe for you now, where just a few years ago that was an impossible thing that you would ever feel safe. And I know you've also talked about how you're still processing that through your body, and your body's still in that fight or flight mode a lot, and you're taking
all the
some
time
measures there. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I know that the music group is huge. Mm-hmm. Creating art, whether you learn it from Brene Brown or you're intuitive about it, a lot of anyone listening to this, you can go back into the time in your life when you actively decided that you were going to stop doing art is the time that you started punking on yourself and trying to be somebody that you're not. And you can tie it back to that part of your life. So a huge part of, if anybody wanted to be joyful in their life, not just in recovery, but anybody, maybe they have like the kids and the job and the wife and the white picket fence. If you're not doing some creative outlet and honoring that part of you, whatever it is, you're fucked.
Yep.
So
yeah, and with art, I also do make candles. I make candles and I put stuff in them. I don't know, it's progressed as time has gone on. So I put like crystals in it and lavender, and I create candles that are made by a survivor. And again, proceeds are always going back to me just helping people. And so that's another way.
What's interesting is how much of that has to do with your hands, that you're taking that and doing something you create with your hands. So clothes, pieces of artwork, candles, something that you're tangibly creating, how important that is to you. And you brought some of your shirts. They're lovely. I love the Free AF shirts.
Thank you.
The quality of the shirt is very nice. It's very good quality. Mm-hmm. So definitely check into those for anybody who wants to support this. And just in case you were wondering who is affected by sex trafficking, it's all of us. Whether it's pornography, sex trafficking, whether you know somebody personally or not, it affects every single person that's listening to this podcast. So it's not just for other people, it's you.
I call it soul warfare. Modern day slavery.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
The oldest form of slavery. Soul warfare is what we're in.
In all the trauma research that has been done, music is one of the 5 things that really allows you, because the problem with trauma, or where people don't get it, is that you know too much and you have no language to express it.
Right.
So you know what you know, but you also don't know what you don't know.
Right.
But your body does, and it's in there somewhere. Right. But then you don't have the language to express it, where music helps take both your brain hemispheres and wire them together to be able to start expressing that and sharing that when you don't have words. And if it comes out of your bodies and you start to know it, once you start to know what you know, then you can start finding the language to express it.
Yeah, and I like what you brought up with the body as well. When I'm hearing music, or I'm hearing myself sing, or I'm feeling myself wanting to move because of what I just heard from the lyrics, or hearing myself, that actually helps me with my trauma. Totally. It helps the trauma move through my body, move out of my body, whether it's me rapping the 10 crack commandments or whatever it is. I am moving that trauma through my body, and I'm expressing it, even if I'm just listening in the car or with my headphones. And another thing I had to bring up too that I do for my recovery is that I clean houses. I have found a spiritual experience through scrubbing toilets, because I, for so long, was not allowed to even let someone in my presence without charging them money. And so now what I like to do is I like to flip the script on my mind, and I like to flip the script on my trafficker, and I like to take my power back, and I like to clean for other people. So I like to keep their houses clean, and instead of charging these massive amounts of money just to spend time with someone and chain their soul down into this darkness, I've changed it around, and it's a spiritual experience for me to clean someone's house and to give them a gift of having a clean home, but also that I get to choose what I do with my body. And I can do anything I want with my body, and I choose to scrub a toilet. And so that is freedom at like it, I'm smiling from ear to ear because it literally like I can't even explain it. It literally is just like that is freaking freedom to me because I was not allowed to do things with my body that I should have been allowed to do. And now I get to clean a toilet if I want to. So it's freaking amazing. It does so much for me. And I'm grateful to my clients that trust me to clean their houses. And that that's a part of my recovery. And that sounds so weird, but it's my recovery. And that's what it does for me. It heals me.
So who does it sound weird to? Like, why is that? So that's it. The bigger question is, if you get stuck doing you because you are supposed to look like somebody else, then you're not doing you. Mm-hmm. That's when you are able to say like, this is weird and I love it. That is the feeling you need to follow and pursue. And let's be clear, winning in life is definitely having a spiritual experience, doing a good job, and making money on something you choose to do. Yep. So they're not mutually exclusive. You can't like not charge and have a spiritual experience. Like, no, we win together in all sorts of ways. And when you know your service and what you're going to give is going to be bananas awesome, you feel good, they feel good, and you make money and you have this good experience. And the most important thing is you flip the script.
Yeah,
you're taking your power back.
I like completely flip the script on it. Like that totally would not have been allowed in when I was being trafficked. Like that was not, like it would be like, no, get back to work. Like, you know what you're supposed to be doing with your body right now. And I get to choose what I do with my body. And sometimes I like to dress like a queen and sparkle and shine and dance and sing. And then other times I like to throw my hair up, throw some tunes in my, ears and bump some music and clean a freaking toilet. And it all heals me, all of it.
So tell me a little bit about the moment, like there's a moment you talked about where you flipped the script on your pimp and it was like, this is my Independence Day. How did you declare that?
So I've shared this quite a bit in,
and by the way, anybody's listening, look up Arena Talks on YouTube and you'll be able to find Kayla's presentation she gave on Arena Talks at our recent,
and the question and answer and everything.
Series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment, so just, statistic wise, I can't throw out a number, but for myself, I ran away hundreds of times. Like some days I would run away multiple times trying to get away. The time that I actually made it, the last time that I actually ran away, I was in a hotel room, a beautiful hotel room. And because the more beautiful hotel room, the bigger it was, the safer I felt. And so I would pay massive amounts of money for these hotel rooms. And I was, some events had taken place beforehand where I had been robbed. I had been dealing with a man that I loved, dealing with his death. He was stabbed and left to bleed out. And I was not processing that. I wasn't understanding, and I was having a really hard time with it. I had just done some horrible things, and I was very scared. And I was getting... I had just posted an ad, a lot of the work I did was online, and I had just posted an ad, and I was getting very vile messages, and they felt very different than anything I had ever received before of the 6 years that I was doing that. And something inside me told me that I was in danger and that I was going to die if I opened that door. If I made any dates that night, I was going to die. And I remember opening my shade and looking out at the Space Needle, and I heard a distinct voice tell me that my pain was not the only pain. I heard a distinct voice tell me that, yes, Kayla, you are in pain and you have been through so much, and I know that you're hurting. But you have beautiful children, and you have a family, and you have people that are also in pain because of where you are right now, because they're worried about you. And I wrapped up my meth pipe, and I put it away, and I still had, Xanax and Molly and all these other drugs, and I put them all away, and I literally could not I needed to, because I was nodding out and I needed more drugs. I needed more drugs. That's all I had in my body. I didn't have food. I didn't have water. All I had was drugs, and I needed them to stay awake. I could not take another hit. And I decided at that moment that it was time. And I called my trafficker, and I don't know where the words came from, but I said, I am a goddess and I am a daughter of God. I am not a prostitute, and no man will touch my body for any amount of money, including you. And that was the moment that I decided that it was over, that I was done. And I didn't know what was going to happen after that. I didn't know how I was going to get away, but all I knew was that I was never going to do that again. And I can't go into a ton of the details about what happened after that, just due to the legalities of it and the trial. But there was just a lot of inspiration, and it was scary, but I was getting inspiration from that same voice that told me that it was time. And I ended up running on foot to a hospital. And I had a ward back home in Seattle, and they showed up to the hospital after I dropped my head and said, please, God, help me. I was hearing voices. I was feeling swirling all around me of just evil and darkness and hell, and I didn't know how I was going to get out. I didn't know. Everyone was afraid of me. I was at the point of dying, and I just dropped my head and just said, please, God, help me. I didn't know what I needed. I just knew I needed help. And my bishop called me, and after that, people from my church showed up, and they kept me safe for 3 days, and then I came here to Utah, and I have been doing nothing but trying to win.
Oh, you left Try back in Seattle.
Yeah, I did.
Yep.
I've been winning.
Yep. And then since then, how many times have you made that same decision that you are a goddess, that you're a child of God, and that you are going to find, like, you're never doing that, and you're going to find a way forward?
Every single day.
Thousands.
Every single day.
Probably some days way more than once.
And sometimes every moment.
I think in recovery, people, and I think it's with people who want to find, a deeper spirituality too, or they want to have a better relationship with their partner or whatnot. We so often want it to be this one moment, this one part of my hero's journey where I just decide, and then on it's like I'm the hero.
That's it. Yeah.
There is a moment for sure where you decide, like, you will never go back there. Mine was, I had gotten to a certain point in my life where I had everything I wanted, and I didn't feel joy. I was like, I am not dying without knowing how to do joy, ever. Yeah. And from that moment forward, and I've had to go back and make that choice. That, not make it again, but recommit to it again and again and again and again and again and again. But it's those small choices along the way that make that the defining moment that it can be. So if you're listening to this, the way you win is by coming back and recommitting. And sometimes it's every 5 to 15 minutes you got to recommit.
Sometimes it's every moment. Like, sometimes it's like a minute at a time. Like, okay, I can do this. Every breath sometimes.
Yep.
It is like crawling and scratching sometimes, but it will work.
Speaking of taking the deeper breaths, inhales, and exhaling them very slowly, helps those minutes turn into 5 minutes, and 5 minutes turn into 10 minutes. More easily, because your body, you're overriding, or you're taking control of your body's flight or fight response.
Yes.
Tell me about how has trauma gotten stuck in your body, and as you've gotten healthier, how are you healing?
So trauma has completely gotten stuck in my body. I've had just...
By the way, anybody listening, trauma gets stuck in everyone's bodies. So it's not just you. You didn't have to go through
it. You can get a car accident. You can have someone yell at you and get stuck in your body. I mean, there's so many ways that
Mom
trauma...
dies of cancer when you're growing up, whatever.
Yep, whatever it is, grief can get stuck in your body, because that's a form of trauma. So there was actual events where physical things happened to me where that trauma was put into my body. So I struggle. Those are probably the hardest ones.
The blunt force trauma kind?
The blunt force trauma.
Literally?
Yes. Yeah. Like I've ran into semis on the freeway and walked out of those car accidents. I've crashed other vehicles. I've been crashed into walls. I've been hit with cars. I mean, just very physical things. And not only that, but just speaking upon, 6 years of being trafficked, like you have to think about how physical that actually was on my body and the things that were done to my body.
Hard labor.
Yes, that is very hard labor and not with very kind men that were not there to treat me nicely. So there is trauma that is held in my body, and those are probably the hardest ones that I have to do, like the physical therapy and the actual like working out and doing yoga and like doing the breath work and meditation and those things to try and really exit those things out of my body, because those become the medical part side. So I work very closely with a medical team and I'm with the treatment center to help me with those parts. But also with releasing the trauma for me comes through all of the things I just talked about.
Yeah.
Is through movement, is through music, is through walking, is through, like, I have this amazing friend, he's my best friend, and he likes to carry my purse, but I like to carry my purse because I know, and it gives me the strength, and it makes me know that, you know what, like, my bones are still pretty weak, and some days I can't walk because of the emotional way that I hold things in my body.
Sure.
But I'm going to carry my fucking purse, and it helps me to work through that so that I can release that. And then I'm like, you know what? I just carried my heavy ass purse that has everything I need in it to survive, because I still have these trauma responses where I literally carry everything in my purse. Like, if I got locked out of my car, I will survive. I have a shout wipe. If I have a stain, I'm going to get the stain out. If I need a lighter, I got a lighter. If I need cigarettes, if I need money, if I need a card, I've got 50 prepaid cards, I still have trauma things that I do.
For sure.
And so I still have to work through those things, but through persevering through the pain and through, I love that my friends are there for me and I love that they want to help me, but I am far from a damsel in distress. I am far from that. I don't need someone to carry me. I don't need someone to, I want them to walk beside me as I crawl my way inside, because that is how I release it from my body. And that's how I release it from my mind. And the mind is such a powerful thing. And to know that, I just had a baby and she's 8 months old and I literally wasn't walking and I just skydived last week, I go through physical pain, I go through anxiety, I go through all of these things where I either hold my breath or I breathe way too heavy or it's extreme. I'm in fight or flight all the time and I'm constantly combating it, I'm always wondering, is someone going to bust in the door? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? And it is all in my body. And so I'm constantly using things, even driving my car, the movement of the car, the music, the getting somewhere, the doing something, just all of it helps me to be folding clothes, restocking FTR with my clothes, doing inventory. All of those things help me to just get movement through my body. I also use EFT.
That is such a valuable point.
I use tapping. I use oils. So I use my senses to help try to release that trauma. And I also, in the last trauma treatment center that I went to, my therapist was really awesome. She just taught me to just exist with it. It's there. It's okay. It's just acknowledge that it's there.
How did she help you?
She helped me because I used to think oh my gosh, I'm in a trauma response. I need to calm down. I'm going to scare everybody. I'm going to freak everybody out. I'm going to get locked up. And just go into panic.
Well, she feeds it.
Yeah. And so then I would be freaking out and I don't want to scare anybody, but then
you just
I'm
need to
scared.
Calm down.
Yeah. And then I would
have
one time in treatment, someone, told me to breathe, and I love you so much. You know who you are. She told me to breathe and I threw a shoe. Yeah. She was like, just breathe. And I'm like, yeah, I'll show you how to breathe. I'm going to throw a shoe now. So, and we laugh about it now because it's like, that is not what I needed to hear, you know, like, and so it's so much things. It's just getting however you need, whether it be through breath work or through being still or through movement or through dancing or through art or through smiling or through laughing or through skydiving or like whatever it is. I do not care. I am on the hunt for anything that will help my trauma. And that therapist that taught me, like, where you will learn about me, anyone that knows me will know I want to learn everything. I am a sponge. I want to learn everything about everything. If I can learn more, I want to learn more, and I want to learn more about that. And I just think that this specific therapist was able to just let me realize that it is okay that I have trauma in my body. It is there, and acknowledging that it is there and letting it exist. It's okay that I'm stuttering right now and that my memories are coming in faster than I can speak, and that's okay. But just slowing it down and recognizing it, acknowledging it, letting it pass by, and it is all going to be okay.
It is for you're listening and your friend maybe goes into one of these moments, or yourself, it's the validation and the acknowledgement that allowing it to be, that allow your body to regulate the response appropriately. Because when you're in that space, it is whatever has happened is actually happening to you right now in the present.
Yep.
And that's why processing your trauma is so important, is because you don't ever leave that space where it's in the past. It's always present.
Still there.
Mm-hmm.
It's still there.
And so it's the validation and acknowledgement that lets your body then say like, oh, that happened to me, not it's happening to me now.
Yep. Yeah. And being able to really be like, okay, that's not happening now. It's a lot of self-talk. I am safe. I'm safe in this building. God has, brought me this far. I'm pretty sure that like he is going to put his army of angels in between whoever is going to try and come in between me and them.
They're already there.
They're already there. I have that's why I call myself a queen, because I know that I have like this army of angels. I know that if we could really see the angel wings that we have, mine would be these like razor sharp, towering wings that are just here for the battle. I am here, I am showing up for life, but there is also a gentleness to me as well. And both of those can exist in the same. I am fragile, but I am so fucking strong. I am both in the same, and those can both exist in the same. And they are both okay, and they are both powerful.
I love that duality. When you understand the duality of life, you understand it.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Shadow work.
I tell you what, as you were listening to those things of how to acknowledge it, something that's worked well for me too is when I want to go dark, I'll put on sweats and a hoodie, and I'll go in a room and I'll close the door and I'll draw the shades and I'll just get really small and really dark, and I'll listen to something. And usually it's not like to pump me up, it's to actually acknowledge that I feel really depressed right now, or I feel really sad or low or isolated or whatever it is. Yep. And the more I honor it, I can't do it for more than 15 or 20 minutes. Yeah. Where before I would be able to go and, isolate for hours and hours when I would spiral out. Yeah, when I give it tons of power. When you acknowledge it, be like, no, I need to feel this. Yep. It just doesn't last long.
Yeah, and sometimes for me it's just turning on a song where there's one song, and I don't know who the rapper is, but she's just a woman talking about like there was nights she's talking about being prostituted, and she's talking about there's nights where she couldn't see her babies and she had to give up everything and just all of this stuff. And literally it's like a 30-second rap, but me listening to it, hearing the pain, knowing I experienced it, I feel like she understands what I went through, and like that I'm not alone in it. Someone else in the world understands that I felt that exact same way. I wanted to be with my baby so bad, but I couldn't. I was sometimes 15 minutes away from them in a hotel, but I couldn't go see my babies, torturous. But just to acknowledge it for a minute, and I love what you said. My favorite part of the night is going home and putting on sweats and my hoodie and making my Pike's Place roast and going outside and just smoking a cigarette on the curb in the freaking rain in a hoodie and listening to some music. Yep. Is my favorite.
Ground you.
It's peaceful. I love it.
It is. It's because you're making friends with your shadow. Yeah. You're not trying to ignore and pretend like you you didn't do those things you had to do to survive, or that you're not that person, that you are. Yep,
I'm
I
at
am.
peace with it.
I just don't feed it.
Yeah. And I'm at peace with that. Like, it all happened for a reason. Like, it is okay. And like, I know that like it all happened for a reason. I don't have all the answers. I don't know what the future holds. All I know is that like the future holds some magnificent, amazing, incredible things. And if today all of it ended, the things I have done already is enough to leave behind a legacy that I am freaking proud of. I'm proud today. Like, if today was my last day, I am proud of my legacy.
Me too. And the more I live, like, it's all we got. It's all we have is today. The more I live like that, the more I am all me today.
Yeah.
Showing up the way I said I would, how I said I would, do what I said I would.
Being exactly who you are.
Exactly. People that are listening, I think one thing that I can't leave underscored is those of you that are not incorporating a higher power into your recovery work. One thing that you've pointed out, Kayla, that has just been so huge for me is there are going to be moments where there is not somebody who understands. Yep. There's not somebody who sees all the good work you're doing.
Yep.
There's not somebody who is there to acknowledge that you're doing all these changes, or that you messed up, but you're doing, like, you turn the corner. But there is a God or a source or a universe. And whether those are too big for you, it doesn't matter if it's the mountains or the rivers or the
fairy,
ocean.
The wind, the sun, some trees.
Something that you can allow to acknowledge you when no one else is there. To say, hey, I see you're crying really, really hard, and that's the worst. And you start validating, and you let that higher power validate you. Like, that's the worst, when somebody you love doesn't love you back, or they don't see that you're doing all this work, or that you're trying so hard and they're not getting it. Yep, and yep.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. It's my sponsor told me a couple weeks ago, allowing people to have their judgments, allowing them to have their judgments. I'm not responsible for their black magic and their black karma that they're having. If they want to talk about me and they want to talk about my recovery and how much time I have, or what I have done or what I haven't done or what I'm not doing,
nothing to do with you.
It has nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing to do with me. I am so happy with who I am. I am proud of the woman that I am. I am so proud of how I am as a mom. Like, I wouldn't want to be anyone else. I really wouldn't.
Isn't that the best feeling?
It is the best feeling.
It's the best.
Like, I don't want to look like anyone else. I don't want to walk like anyone else. I don't want to drive like anyone else. I want to be exactly who I am.
I feel you.
I wake up every day and I'm like, God, I love myself. I love myself. I love what I've been through. It's hard and it's painful sometimes, but I love who I am. I love where I'm headed, and I know that everything is for my good. Everything. It all is. It all is. And I have a calmness and a peacefulness right now because I just know that there are things coming and they will continue to come. And I am so excited for that validation that I'm not going to get from people, but that I'm going to get from my higher power and from myself, where it's like, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, your life around you that says, yep, here you go. Yep, This is what I attract. I'm abundant. That's how it's going to come.
This is what happened.
You don't need to know how the abundance can come. You just need to know that it's going to come.
Yeah, and then just having like this piece of like, okay, it's here, celebrating that and just keeping it pushing.
So I want you to bring us home. So there's somebody out there that needs to hear, that is in the exact right place, the right time to hear what you're having to say.
Okay.
So we've talked about so much winning today. It's
I know.
ridiculous. We could go on for 2 more hours, and we will, some other podcasts
So much
in the future.
winning, I know.
So much winning in this podcast. Tell me, like, there's that person out there that needs to hear what you have to say. So bring it on home and tell us what they need to hear.
I think what I want to leave this sacred space with is that never give up. Never give up. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your recovery. Never give up on, like, it doesn't matter how many times you fail. It doesn't matter how many people are against you. It doesn't matter how dark it is. No one can ever put out your light. Your light is always going to be there, and you always have the opportunity to turn your light up. And there will always be, like, if you just hold on through that pain, hold on, pain ends, having hope, you know, that acronym, I love that acronym, hold on, the pain ends, there will be grace. There will be space for you. And there is always space for you in this world. There is space for your trauma. There is space for your suicidal thoughts. There is space for your shame. There is space for your tears. There is space for the love that you need. There is space for you. Take up space. Take up space. Take up a seat in a room. Take up the microphone. Pick up a book. Like, do whatever you need to do and fight for yourself, because you fucking deserve it. You deserve it. We are all kings and queens. Like, we all are. Crown yourself. I want to leave this space with crown yourself. I want a bunch of kings and queens walking around. That is what I want to see. Hold your head high and know that you are a king or a queen. If you are listening, you are in the right spot, and this is a sign that you are a king or a queen, and you need to crown, you need to straighten it, you need to keep going, and you need to keep pushing no matter what.
What are some ways that you're crowning yourself right now in your life?
I am crowning myself by loving myself. I am crowning myself by honoring the fact that I was blessed to become a mother to 3 children, and I have a little brother that I raised that I also look to as my son. And that is the biggest way that I crown myself, is that I live my best life for myself, and I become the best version of myself. I become the best friend to my friends, and that I love people no matter what. And if I make mistakes, I am okay with coming back around and saying, you know what, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I cut you with my words. I'm here for you. I'll take a bullet for you. It doesn't matter. Like, I crown myself every day by just showing up and being the authentic, true self that I am, no matter how I show up. If I'm crying, if I'm ugly, if I'm beautiful, I don't care how I show up. As long as I show up and be my true, authentic self, however I am in that moment, that is why I'm a queen.
You know, you said you were on fire before we started.
Yeah.
But one thing I can tell you is, whether you were on fire or you were feeling like a rainy day, you would have been here either way, and you would have given your best.
Yep.
That's a huge hat tip to you.
Rain or shine, I would have been here.
You would have been here.
Yep.
Get it on.
Yep.
So if somebody wants to find you, how do they find you?
It is so hard to find me on Facebook. If you type in Kayla, you might find me. But it is
Kayla.
Yep, Kayla. Or you can just go to, an easier way is to go to my website. It is www.renegadepassion.com. You can see my story on there. You can donate to my PTSD fund. And then you can also hit up my Instagram or my Facebook on there. So that would probably be the easiest way to catch me on there. And then I'm just pulling up right now, because I just posted for Deeply Rooted. Deeply Rooted is going to be 7 o'clock at Brighton Community Center, 4905 South 900 East in Murray. And it is a magical night, and there will be people sharing their hearts and their souls and their music, and it's all like original stuff, and it is just like, it is everything. Like, I would highly recommend going. It is the greatest night, and I've been a part of a bunch of them, and it is amazing. I would recommend going. I would recommend going to these groups and just checking it out. It is such a safe space, and there's people that I've brought to group who have literally gone in and not been able to say anything, and now they sing and they record and they like are going to the studio with me and making songs with me, and like they're sharing their voice and they're finding their voice, and it's the same experience I've had. So I have to plug Ian's Gym, FTR, and my clothes are also carried there. My awareness apparel, I'm a brand ambassador for a company called Don't Be Pimped, and it is awareness apparel. The greatest part about it is that the things that are on the shirts, the one one I'm wearing right now, Speak Up, Ensure Justice, free and forgiven, or free as fuck if you want to say it how I say it. Don't be pimped. It brings awareness to the world when you wear those clothes. But also the proceeds that I use go directly to helping other survivors that have needs that are in treatment, or they need birth certificates, or whatever their needs are, outreach items. I use those items, and I do all the footwork myself for that. And Ian has been so kind to let me carry his clothes there. And so if you want to pick up some clothes, they are there, and they're also at the Sandy Vasa in their shake shop. So, and the most magical things are when someone looks at my art and they know exactly what I'm talking about without saying anything at all. And it took me a while to realize that my art actually means a lot to people. So I'm going to be auctioning off some art at the OUR Gala coming up in November. So if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I will post more information about that. And then also for Dahlia's Hope, which is also a sex trafficking organization that helps with my own healing, they are offering me to auction off pieces there as well. So if you're interested in picking up some original pieces that have a lot of heart and soul and meaning to them, and are going to go to survivors and also to me to help me raise my babies and get to my treatments, those are what the fund that is winning.
I love it. Kayla B, sovereign of her own life. Thank you for being here on the Winning Together podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This has been Shay. I trained my dragon's Azlet. What a great piece. We'll do more. I promise you.
I love it. I'll be back.
All right, everybody. Have a great, fantastic day. Go win.
Queen
Cheers.
out.